Ja Rule, good morning. How are you, my man?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, bud. What prompted you to write a book? Did you just look back at your life and say, man, I have a bunch of interesting stories. I want to put these together? Or what was it? Why did you decide to do it?
I mean, of course that's always a good reason. But I really just wanted to inspire young black men, young men period, that are kind of going through the same, you know, crazy things that I went through as a kid. Growing up in a single parent home, in the streets, in the ghetto, in the hood, just with a lot of different struggles, a lot of different obstacles, and just to give them some hope and inspire them that I'm just like them, that they could make it, and life is about obstacles, is about perseverance, and you just got to keep going in life, and don't let things get you down, and keep pushing, and keep striving for the things you want in life. So I wanted to write that book this book for that reason.
You were born in Queens. You said that you were raised primarily by your mother, but your father, was he around at all when you were growing up?
Yeah, he was around a little bit. He was with me till I was about 5 or 6 years old.
He was not a nice guy, though, right?
He had his issues. He had his problems. He was abusive, to himself and then to my mom, and he was on drugs, and he was dealing drugs and doing drugs, and it was the '70s, man. It was just a different time.
What kind of impact do you think that had as a young, very young, 5 years old or whatever? Did you see him abuse your mother? Did that have any impact on you as a youngster?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen the hurt and the pain that it he put my mom through, and I didn't want to be nothing like him. Coming up as a young man, and I think that's it was a good thing, kind of, because I'm totally against anything violent to women, and never hit a woman, never hit my wife, my kids. I'm a great father to my kids, So for me not wanting to be nothing like him, I think it made me a better man.
Tell me about your mother. Was she a good mother? Was she tough on you, or how was it being raised by a single mother?
Oh, mom's was great, but she struggled, raising me because I was a young man, just kind of growing up and being raised by the streets, so to speak. Even though my mom had all the best interests for me, she was working 2 jobs and trying to keep a roof over our heads. So it was hard for her to monitor all the things that I was doing, and I got into a lot of mischief due to that,
Yeah, I was raised by a single mother. My mom had me when she was 17 years old. I had no father figure around, and I didn't get into half the amount of trouble that you did, Jarrell, but but you can kind of get away with, same thing. My mom was working 2 jobs to put food on the table, and and there's something about being a 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy, and you only have to worry about your mother being the disciplinarian. You can kind of, I'm not saying dupe your mom, because my mom always knew when I was getting into trouble, but mothers are just so forgiving. Now, if you had a dad and you screw up, your dad's going to beat your ass when you get home. Your mother's just going to... My mother would cry and go, I'm so disappointed in you.
Exactly. So it's a different thing, and, my book is out there, too, to kind of help, single moms that are going through that, get through it, too, and to let them know that, you're doing a good job. It's just hard to raise a man by yourself as a woman,
Now, you wrote this book. It's called Unruly, The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man. You wanted to inspire youth and say that they can make it. When did you start getting involved in rap and entertainment? I mean, did you do this? Was this something you were into from the time you were very, very young, or How did you decide that this is the path that you wanted to go down in life?
I think around high school, I started. Excuse me. I think in high school I really started. It's early in the morning. I need my coffee.
Yeah, I hear you.
In high school I really started getting into the music, and hip hop was starting to really hit the mainstream. With acts like Run DMC and LL Cool J and these guys, and I fell in love with the music and started really, taking it on as a hobby. And that hobby grew into, a passion, and then that passion grew into a profession. So I'm very grateful for hip hop.
You, Ja Rule is on with us. I'm a rock guy. I've worked on rock stations for, I don't know, 20 years or whatever. Now we do a talk show, but we're on a rock station, and
right.
there's a totally different vibe in rock than there is in rap. Like, I was reading all about Ja Rule, some of the feuds you've been in with 50 Cent and Eminem and all these guys. And I wonder, in hindsight, now that you're a little older, you're a little wiser, you have this book out, do you look back at some of this stuff and you say, I want to be an inspiration to kids? Do you look back and say, some of the stuff that I did, said, participated in was stupid?
Yeah, absolutely. It was silly. It's just when you're young and you just want to be the best at something, sometimes we don't know how to go about doing that without being confrontational. And I think, early on in my career, but hip hop in itself is kind of built on that foundation of being, confrontational.
Right.
Battle rap and stuff like that has always been part of hip hop. I remember my earliest days in hip hop, me and DMX would just show up at people's video shoots and wanting to battle them. We'd show up at, guys that were signed and had record deals, and we'd pop up at these, video shoots and pick battles with them. Let's battle, and I think it's just part of hip hop. But sometimes he can get out of hand, and if you keep it just there at the battle rap and it's just competitive, that's fine. But when it gets to the violence and this, that, and the third, I think that's when it gets out of hand. And I wanted to write about these things just to let people know that this is what I went through in my life. But yeah, it was childish, and yeah, we get through it, and it's not the end of all days.
I'm wondering why it's tolerated by people. I guess there's just so much money in hip hop, and that's why it's tolerated. Because I had Machine Gun Kelly here in the studio, who's a rapper, a white guy from this area.
Yeah.
He comes in on the show when he's here in town quite a bit, and he was at, I want to say it was like the BET Awards or one of these award shows, and there was a huge, this is maybe about a year ago, huge brawl. I don't even remember who was involved, but it spills, backstage and then outside, and people are getting in, and you just don't see that kind of stuff at other, award shows. You don't see it at the grand. Why is it tolerated? It's almost not only tolerated, but I don't want to say that it's promoted, but it's so commonplace.
Yeah, it is really, and the powers that be, they're making money off of it. For them, it's a cash in. So they're not necessarily trying to stop it either. I don't think actually, sometimes it does get promoted. The media, they love to jump on these situations, these topics, and pump them up and blow them up. You look at a situation like Tupac and Biggie, where two coasts were pitted against each other over two rappers. So, it's really crazy that this has to go on in hip hop. And honestly, I wish that we could all just coincide and make money together and empower each other.
Have you made peace with any of the people? Like, I know you had a famous feud with 50 Cent. I know you had a famous feud with Eminem. Now that you're older, have you made peace with either of those guys?
I'm at peace with myself first and foremost, which is the number one thing, so that allows me to grow and get ahead of these situations and go on, move on with my life. But I don't have any issues with Eminem or, any of these other guys. Me and 50, we still don't speak. We're not friends or anything like that. But I don't have any issues with anybody anymore. I'm just moving on. And people ask me, well, don't you think, with this book you're telling these stories and it's going to rehash and bring up all of these old, feelings and stuff? And I'm like, it's my life story.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a book, and I have to put these things in my book. If I didn't, people would be mad, So I had to tell the story the way it was, where it goes,
You got out of prison a little less than a year ago, I think. You were in prison, if I'm correct, on a weapons charge and then on a tax evasion charge.
Yeah.
How did that change you? Did you, or did it change you? You come out of there with a different outlook on life?
Absolutely. You go through those type of situations, you definitely learn from them, or you should learn from them. And if you don't, then something's really wrong. But I was young and making a lot of money, and when you're young and you're making that kind of money and you're not abreast of finances that way, or what to do with them, or how to invest them and stuff like that, you are bound to make some mistakes, and I've made a lot of mistakes.
How are you financially? I mean, look, you've made a lot of money in your career. You've been in movies. You've had platinum albums out. Are you set, do you think, for life? I mean, or did you blow a bunch of money? How are you?
I'm fine. I'm good. Everything is fine. My family's well taken care of. I still have, beautiful family, beautiful homes, cars. Everything is fine. But, I'm kind of happy I went through it all to learn, now how to invest my money and, how to operate in the system a little bit better, the financial system a little bit better. So, everything's good, but I'm glad that I had that learning experience.
Do you think prison was, how long were you in prison for?
2 years.
Do you think it was easier for you because you were a celebrity, or do you think it was harder?
I think it's it's both. They treat you. Some people treat you a little bit better because you're a celebrity, and some people want to, show you that you're one of us. Mm-hmm. You're no better than us. So you get both sides of it. Did you have any fights while you were in prison, or not? Nah, I almost got into a couple of incidents, but for the most part, everything was good.
I could see people just going, if Ja Rule's in prison, I could see guys just wanting to start a fight with Ja Rule just to say, I kicked Ja Rule's ass. You'd seem like you walk around with a target on you. I mean, I'm definitely a fighter, so it would have been a tough fight. Ja Rule's book is called Unruly: The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man. Before I let you go, and the book is in stores now. As you look back, you say that you've learned a lot. You want to inspire kids and young guys, young black males coming up. What would be your number one lesson to them that you've learned, if you could impart some wisdom to them? And I know when I was a kid, I remember looking at people, I'm 38 now, and people would tell me stuff and you'd go, yeah, whatever, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It's different with me. Then you get to be 38 and you go, wow, that guy really knew what the hell he was talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you impart to a 15-year-old kid who's sitting there, who's in the same situation that you were in, getting in fights at school, probably associating with guys that are not the best guys to be around, maybe as a single mother like you did? What would you tell this kid if you had a one-on-one conversation with him?
I mean, I would tell him to, never give up. You know, soar with your strengths. You know, what you're good at, try to be great at it. You know, excel at what you're good at versus working on your weaknesses and, you know, becoming maybe at best good at something. You know, do what you're good at and become great at it. You know, and never give up on your dreams. You know, work hard, and what you get at, what you put in life is what you get out of it. You know.
I've had a few people send me text messages since you've been on. They said that while you were in jail, they're like, this guy really bulked up. He got huge. Did you? They want to know if that was prison food and push-ups that did that for you.
Yeah, I worked out every day while I was in prison. I may have missed 3 workouts while I was in prison. You know, I wanted to, you know, they say a healthy body is a healthy mind or whatever the saying is. So, you know, I just it made help pass the time for one, and you know, it made me feel good every day just going into the gym and you know, working out, and it made me forget about, you know, some of the crazy things that was going on in my life. You know,
what's next for you? What is so you have the book out? What's next for Ja Rule? What do you have?
Oh man, I'm working on my new project now. It's called Genius Loves Company, new album. You know, I'm gonna put that out sometime next year. And I got my new TV show with my family called Follow the Rules, and my new shoe line with Steve Madden. You know, so I'm working on a lot of things, and I got some movie stuff I'm working on. So everything's good.
Hey, well, good luck with the book. It's called Unruly: The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man. It's available in stores now. Ja Rule, I appreciate you coming on the show, my man.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.